Well, again, back on the subject of the Torah and some rabbis. I like some of them rabbis the way they preach. They're quite happy, aren't they? Some of them, well, most of them I've seen are quite happy, and they can have a joke and laugh and a joke with the people listening. That's good. It also says in Malachi that what we call the proud happy. Yeah. Anyway, never mind. I'm not here to knock down people, but all I'm doing is just trying to encourage, to stir up, to be mindful of things that are out there and things of God for His children, the children of Zion, of which are of the remnant of Jews, Orthodox Jews, Messianic Jews, but also scattered around the world in Christianity and all places. So there's no Jew or Gentile anymore that way. It's whoever God reveals Himself to, or whoever seeks God. But then again, He calls them to seek Him in the first place. So if some of God's children are actually under some ministry or something, whatever, some yoke, and it's not where they belong, but that's where they are. It's much like somewhere in Scripture, I can't remember where, but it mentions about the partridge bird. Now the partridge, it pinches, it steals eggs from other birds' nests. It kind of rolls them back to its own nest, and then sits on the eggs and incubates them, even to the hatching, and even feed them a little bit. But as soon as those birds hear, those chicks hear their real mothers, hens, where they were stolen from, they jump out the partridge nest and they run back to the true mother. It's amazing that. It's much like people that belong to God, children of God, in Zion, and they're under a kind of schoolmaster or a nursemaid, or looking after their sleep as they sleep there like babies until they wake up, and then they can start leaving the milk and eating the meat and start roaring, and woe be to people who've got in their way. Anyway, I'm on the subject here. Where is it? Isaiah 29. Going back to Ariel Sharon, because he was in a coma for 8 years and 8 days before he passed away. Switched him off. But this guy was a great leader, a great soldier, a hero of the nation Israel, especially at the time when Israel was getting reinstated, and it was he was a soldier doing a lot of brave things, a lot of heroic things with many others at the time. And this guy, he was Prime Minister twice in Israel, and then he went into a coma. Okay, there's lots of reports about his rumours about scandals of corruption or whatever, but what government politician doesn't have that in this day and age? It was a big stink about people complaining in the land that he gave land away for a deal or whatever. But the people shouting the most were, if I remember rightly, were rabbis of some part of Orthodox Judaism. There were rabbis that gathered to actually put a hex, a curse on Ariel Sharon, and also ensign the angel of death by an ancient curse on Ariel Sharon. This was an important thing because it was in the front of their news. If you don't see these things or don't note them to consider them, how will you ever know? I mean, many rabbis won't tell you the things that are these sort of things. These are things you find out on your own. I realised it on my own. I thought about it, and I thought, how comes these rabbis that are supposed to be men of the Torah, the ones looked up to for guidance in the things of the Torah and things of God, how comes these are actually gathering to put a curse on the leader of the land? Because the Torah's plain say. He says, don't curse the leader of the land, nor revile the princes. Which actually, today in Christianity you see multitudes, Christians, whinging in America about Obama, the president, and stuff like that. It's like they did in the wilderness, isn't it, when Korah rose up and rebelled against God's elected, the anointed. And then he had all his followers on one side, then the ground opened up, the new thing God did, the ground opened up and swallowed them all up alive, whole. And then God said to Moses, get the chiefs of the tribes of Israel, get them to put their rods on the floor, and the one that buds out like fruit, that's the anointed tribe, which was Levi. So they did. Aaron put his rod on the floor and it budded, and God said, let there be a sign to remember this day, so that the people won't rebel again against God's anointed. Which says one thing, because an important thing if you think about it. Moses hardly opened his mouth and was really meek, known as the meekest man on earth. I mean, that's like being lowly and small, and none of the sort of worldly common leadership qualities. And no doubt Aaron was the same, and Miriam. But anyway, Korah thought he was Jack the Lad, he would be a better leader. He was judging by outward appearance. You see, he wasn't looking at things spiritually. He was looking from a carnal point of view. And of course, the ground opened up. So now that was an important thing. Likewise, the writings in the good book, especially the prophets, whoever is a prophet, right, their words will come to pass. Sometimes the prophet's word or it doesn't come to pass till many days, donkeys, years, generations before it's known that that prophet's words were spoken in the name of the Lord and they have come to pass. A lot of these things you can only get yourself, seeking yourself. Okay, you've learnt basics about the Torah and basics about your faith from others, but you've got to get away to actually expect to seek God for yourself and expect Him to show Himself like He's promised. My first sermon I ever heard from anyone, I didn't understand that each sermon message had a kind of allegory in it, but I heard this after a couple of days after I decided to start believing and seeking God, when I heard a message about by getting the suit off the peg. See, when you come to God, it's like you can either get a suit off the peg and hold it as yours and hold it forever, which is like kind of uncomfortable. It's not really made for you, and you can never quite do certain movements in it, you know. Or you can get rid of that one and go for the one that's been tailor-made to measure by your Creator Himself for you. You can't get that from men. You can't get that from a Torah teacher. You can't get that from anyone on earth. Only you can hear from God your way, with the gifts that He's given you, with the way that He wants to lead you, the way that He wants to guide you. It's unique. The way He teaches you is here a little, there a little, His way. Man don't know how that's going to go. Man can teach you, spend 10 years teaching you 10 little points which may be beneficial, profitable. But you see, in that time, you could learn thousands, and your heart turned into someone else by God's Spirit, doing it on your own. You don't have to follow great groups of people. You can sit back and watch stuff on telly, on satellite or computer. You just glean from everywhere. You're living. You're alive. You're a normal man. God will cause you to have peace with men and God, not to go around in groups dressed in certain outfits and labelled as hated by people. I'm not knocking anyone's lifestyle away, but you should be able to show forth, if you've got it right, by having peace with men and God. As it stands at the moment, the nation of Israel is surrounded by people waiting to pounce. I mean, shouldn't it say to you a great thing? Shouldn't it say, where is your God, Israel? Because actually, he hasn't gone anywhere. It's you lot, his people, that's gone somewhere. And it's not just in your government. It's the spiritual people, the spiritual leaders in the nation. You've got to wake up. You've got to wake up. Put away vain traditions and teachings. Put those things away. Seek him alone. Seek him in groups. Only in the lands can this be done, in solemn groups. Seek him. Stop rejecting people of dignity, whether it's other religions or whether it's other leaders, anyone, even the small insignificant person, the small vile looking man, just I was trying to turn here for where it says about 3 chapters, I can't think there is now, that start off with wake up, O Zion, wake up, O arm of the Lord. And you see, the New Testament letters of Paul the Apostle, if it wasn't anointed and chosen and set apart for a time, because the Lord has laid up wisdom, sound wisdom, for his elect, for his just, those that are just, right? There's much in the New Testament that has not ever been known by any people, and it's quite clear and plain to see. Things like Paul the Apostle, he actually wrote his letters with words like, those that profess themselves wise became as fools. Yeah? They knew God, but then they didn't show forth God as God, or him as holy, or they weren't thankful. Now that is why the wrath of God is revealed from heaven upon all ungodliness, of unrighteousness, of men that have known the truth. It's not against the common sinner, you know, the wrath of God. That's one item. There's lots of items. The cross, the death of Jesus, right? Now, stop finding it an offence. Look to understand every aspect of something. If a pope pops up somewhere, or any other Arab, listen out, because God speaks his wisdom from the places that are despised and vile. Did you know that? Because it isn't in the Old, it's in the Old too. Well, like I said before, even in Moses being meek, and Aaron, the actual chosen, elected, anointed part of God's people, is, according to the flesh, not much. David wasn't much when he was a little sandwich deliverer, message boy, but he took on the chief giant of the Philistines and killed him, chopped his head off. Israel is unique. You've got something to be so proud of, being people of Israel. But it's not all Israel. You're not all Israel. I mean, all Israel scattered around the world. And what about the 10 tribes? There's so much. It's not even worth being proud of or unique in your own school. You lock yourself away. You target yourself. You put yourself up as a target that way, and you miss good when it comes, because you're too busy avoiding it, trying to be holier than it. You know, we live in a different world, a new world that's moved on, that's made by God, and He's revealed it, but you missed it. You missed it because you're stuck in that old way. You're asleep, just like Ariel Sharon. But it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. Anyway, this one's 15 minutes, so I'll leave it there. I'll start again with another one. Thanks for watching if you have. See, go to stop.